We're gonna go over this video, okay? It's about 2 weeks old. When I first found it, it was a little newer, but I really didn't want to go over it because I watched a couple minutes and he rattled off stupid point after stupid point, and I didn't even know if I could keep up. But you know what? I'm in the mood. All right, so let's do it. Okay, this is about AOC. Apparently, AOC blames uptick in New York crime on people shoplifting bread. Amazing. 17 dislikes. I'm gonna be the 18th one. Let's get into it. All right, let's see what we can do.
I know that once upon a time I said I would stop making videos about AOC, but it really does seem like she is physically incapable of not saying something completely batshit retarded for over 2 days.
Whoa, now the R slur. Okay, we don't do that here. All right, you can say it was batshit dumb. Okay, so quit with all this quit with the slurs. All right, bud, chill.
And in today's video, this might be one of the most crazy things I have ever heard her, let alone a politician, ever say out loud. And moreover, what I find more questionable is her motivation for even coming up with apologetics for her district and the state of New York as a whole having crime rates skyrocketing. Why apologize for that? Not. Yeah,
people are poor. I think like 46% of New York renters are at risk of being evicted. So yeah, I mean, I can see how desperate times call for some desperate measures.
Try to fix it. You know, I'm sure your law-abiding constituents don't enjoy living in a lawless hellscape where the politicians just apologize for the people fucking them over. We can get into it more here in a minute. You guys know the story.
Lawless hellscape. I don't know. I think he's referring to like the protest or whatever, or like I guess the crime, just like random crime. I don't. Are the police not arresting people for crimes anymore in New York? I don't know. Trolls are gonna keep saying George Floyd's death wasn't bad. Yeah, they'll just keep doing it. It doesn't matter. It's not gonna change anything. With those guys, they're just really stupid. But hey, you know what are you gonna do? Always gotta fight the stupid. You're way better time. Way better at you spending your time.
The channel is completely demonetized. I can't even get a response. I've been trying for like a year now. I think they're gonna ghost me like a bad date. Please remember to like, share, and look at the video.
I think there's something about this uptick in crime. Let me make something super clear for everyone here having this question.
Can you make something super clear to everybody else when you yourself have no idea what you're talking about?
She hasn't even started making her argument yet, and he's just like throwing a hissy fit. Amazing.
Illuminate an issue that you don't understand.
The New York City Police Department has not been defunded. Even with these budgetary changes that were proposed in City Council.
I would really love to know what the fact that the police department still existing has to do with the crime rate going up. And I really hope the argument isn't, well, the cops are still there, so they're still catching criminals, so of course the crime rate's going up. More cops equals more crime because they're being caught. That would be dumb. But not so dumb that it would be out of the realm of possibility for AOC to argue it.
Wait, I'm pretty sure, listen, okay, AOC, I remember back when all this thing, when the crime rates, when that was really being talked about, okay? AOC is right now trying to dispel a bunch of premises about her conclusion that is untrue, okay? So that's what she's doing right now. Hey, what's up, Soul? Nice to see you. So she's dispelling a bunch of misconceptions about her premise that are untrue. So that's what she's doing right now. This is how she's spending her time, okay? In this part of the video, she's yet to make an argument. She's not made her argument yet. He has -3. Honestly, I think that's being charitable. I think it's even lower than that.
It would still be really dumb, though.
They're not fully enacted.
Okay, you're still talking about the police and not telling us why the crime rate is up.
She's talking about challenges to her argument. She's not even making an argument yet. It's so weird how he's like harping on this when you could have just cut the video when she actually started to make her argument. Like what? She's responding to people right now. Like this is good when you're making an argument. You set a bunch of premises that people have about your conclusion, and you dispel them before you make your point. This is just good argumentation. I don't know. I guess he just doesn't understand it.
I would like to get to that point, not what the police are doing.
B, they aren't a real $1 billion in cuts.
Is right now really the time to argue for budget cuts to the police while there is an active uptick in crime? Specifically violent crime, specifically murders? Is that really the time to argue that there should be defunding of the police?
Well, maybe. I don't know. Where are you going to put those funds? Are those funds going to go to places that are going to that have been shown to decrease general crime? Because if so, then yeah, that would be fine to defund the police and put it somewhere else. Any memes today? Listen, anytime you're in chat, that's the best meme, okay?
See, it's not really, like these cuts aren't really real. And again, they haven't even happened yet.
Okay, so what does it have to do with the uptick in crime? You're talking about the police.
Oh my gosh, he can't get it. He just doesn't understand it. It's really funny. So yeah, there was a proposed $1 billion cut. I think it was a 16% cut in the New York Federal Police Department budget. A 16% cut is $1 billion in their budget. Okay, that's a lot of money. That's a spicy meatball. Okay, so if you're putting those funds to places that have been shown to decrease general crime, then yeah. And if that's better than putting it into the police, then absolutely you should be putting your money there. The Trump 10-cent over? What are you talking about? Lee might be bopped in. Wait, really?
Police, like there's somehow the issue here, when the issue is your constituents and the crime being committed, not the people who are hired to stop. I don't understand what you're going for here. Are you really going to argue that more police equals more crime? What?
Literally have not even happened yet.
Well, over-policing is a problem, and that can lead to a spiral of communities going into more and more crime over generations. So yeah, that could, like, more police in a certain area could lead to more crime. So, I mean, criminologists have already found this out, but I think, like, Republicans and like lots of capital L liberals think that if you just police harder and harder, the problems are just going to go away. But when that's been proven not to be true. Well, like criminologists and sociologists have been pleading with legislators to do the opposite.
So
nor should it. I think the police in New York should be given a raise for having to deal with your dumbass constituents who are robbing, looting, shooting, murdering, BLMing all over the place.
Keep in mind.
Wait, the police department should get a raise for doing their job. Okay.
That this uptick in crime that's happening right now is with a $6 billion New York City Police Department budget.
Okay, I'll keep in mind that the uptick in crime is happening with a $6 billion police department budget, but it kind of sounds like you're almost arguing for an increase in the police department budget. I know that's not what you're doing, but you should really get SciCat back, because you making your own points actually helps the other side get more funding. That's what it sounds like, and probably should happen.
So our $6 billion, up to $11 billion, but our $6 billion budget.
So is it $6 billion or $11 billion? Because that's a pretty sizable difference. It's almost double, and I don't think you can just flippantly spend $5 billion. So where is the line there?
Wait a second. So 6 billion or up to 11 billion. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Let's see. NYPD. Oh, here we go. Facts. 7 facts about the NYPD budget. About $11 billion from the city's budget is allocated to the NYPD. Wow, incredible. I was able to find this about her point in literally milliseconds, and where he couldn't do in a whole video. I know for a fact he didn't look it up because he's too stupid. Maybe he's too stupid to use the internet. Who knows? And someone else just uploads it for him. The total was 10.9 billion. Comprised of 5.6 billion for the NYPD budget. So this is the budget that we're talking about when we say NYPD budget. This is their operating budget. 5.3 billion in centrally allocated funds, including 2.3 billion for fringe benefits, 2.8 billion for benefits, 215 million for debt services. So yeah, when you're talking about the entire amount of money allocated to the NYPD, she's right. It's $11 billion. Okay, thank you. Super cool.
Has not prevented this uptick in crime.
So the question there on out would be, are the cops just sitting around not doing anything, just letting this crime happen? Or are they actively going out, responding to calls, and fighting crime the way that they have to? In which case, you could either make the argument for more funding or against more funding. The fun fact is, if they are going out, and I assume they are, and trying to catch the criminals that are already existing, that is an argument for more funding. If it's the latter, then less funding, or replacement of who's already there. But I think we all know what the answer is there.
I think the answer should be to change the system, and if that includes... If the system becomes better, but you have to allocate more funding to it, I mean, if it improves the people's lives, then I mean, sure, that's fine. If we can do it with lessening their budget and putting it towards anything else, like any sort of social program that would make it so the cops would have to do less crime. My bad. Well, hopefully the cops would do less crime. That's what this is all about. But the cops do less policing, and we can get people to do community building instead of community policing, then absolutely we should be decreasing the budget. But it's just depending on where you go. He's a stubborn, dumb AOC hater. Yeah, these people just hate her. Maybe it's because they have a hate boner. They think lots of these guys, they think she's hot, and then they just hate on her. I don't know. It's really weird.
Don't we?
We have funded more and more. We have shoved more and more and more money every single year into the NYPD, $6 billion.
Wow, she really looks like she's throwing the fit, doesn't she? We're giving them more and more money, $6 billion. I could use that $6 billion for the stuff I want it for.
Yeah, like improving people's lives. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, demilitarization would be super sick. Literally no reason for cops to be running around in like spare military gear. No reason. And teaching them like they're in a war zone too. That also would be great. Dang, can you imagine throwing you trying to make your point is you throwing a fit? Sick.
No, that's not how any of this works, AOC. You either use the money for what it's for, or you put it towards something else. You don't get to take it. You don't get to keep it. You don't get to use it for what you want it to go for. You are not the NYPD mayor or NYC mayor. You're not the governor. You are a representative from one specific borough. You handle what's going on there, not what's going on for the NYPD.
Wait, they're in NYPD. There's an uptick in her district, like you said. Yes, so New York's problems is her district's problem. So she should be speaking on these problems. I don't know what's wrong here. What's the disconnect here? I don't get it.
As a whole,
it has not prevented this uptick in crime. So why? But let's back up. Why is this uptick in crime happening?
I don't know why you think paying the cops a certain amount of money is going to stop crime. You should hire more cops, more dedicated cops.
She's also hasn't even gotten. We're 6 minutes into the video and she hasn't even been able to make her point yet. So finally we're getting to it and he's still misunderstanding everything that he's saying.
Maybe a more militarized police force in New York. It certainly seems like they need it, considering half of the
He's advocating for. I've never heard this before. He's advocating for more militarization of the police. That's insane. It's so crazy how all of these people's beliefs are just completely backwards. There's like no information out there at any point in time. We need more How about we just guys? He's like, guys, you're right. Let's defund the police. And then let's just roll A1 Abraham tanks through the streets, and we just lob shells at gang members. This is what's going to reduce crime on American streets. Yes, this is what this guy is crazy, dude.
Goddamn city is a war zone.
There's no like sociology. There's no like person who studies criminology who will tell you that greater militarization of the police is going to lead to like reducing crime in any meaningful way.
So you really have to kind of figure out why the crime is rising, not how much the police are doing and how much are getting paid and what they're using the money for. But moreover, you just said we're going to focus on why the crime is happening. Let's figure it out.
Let's really think about it. Well, this uptick in crime, the NYPD themselves have told a story that's disproven by their own data.
I mean, it's certainly possible they are a government entity, and government entities do tend to lie to suit their own narrative. So did they come out and say something not true? Certainly possible. I seem to remember a certain ex-presidential candidate blaming her big fuck up on a YouTube video. So it is definitely...
What the fuck is this guy talking about? I'm so confused. What does this even mean? Also, governments lie. Just like no corporation has ever lied to their consumers ever. I guess, dude. I guess no companies have ever lied to their consumers ever at any point in time. Or they lie to such a less degree. Their lies, they're like little white lies. Nothing compared to government lies. Bro, ever heard of the opioid epidemic? Maybe he just doesn't care. I remember the opioid epidemic, all predicated on lies. Remember? Oh yeah, it was like the companies were Purdue or something. We're in talks with insurance companies, and they were instructed instructed to not talk about to not like give a yes or no answer. Well, if they're like, does the patient really need these does the patient meet these requirements for getting opioids? And instead of saying yes, because yes would be a lie, they instructed their callers to say instead of yes, because is less legally is more legally gray than them explicitly saying yes, so they could get more doctors to prescribe more opiates. So okay dude
reality that government agencies do lie. But let's hear this example.
At first, the NYPD, they went out and they said, okay, this uptick in crime is happening because of bail reform, because of all of these reforms that we have now.
Well, just a cursory Google search shows that New York's recidivism rate is about 40%. So I don't think it's too far of a stretch to say...
Wait, New York's recidivism rate is 40%. What's the... Wait. What does it say? Recidivism, prison rates... %. What is this? Is this the exact graph that he's showing? Our recidivism rate is 43%. So 44% of released returned before the end of their first year out. So 44%. So so New York is actually 4% lower than the median average. Also, this is 1996 to 2010. Okay.
That people who have some kind of deal with their bail where they get let out early, they don't have to go to court right away, definitely could play some part in that. And considering the NYPD is agreeing with that, I don't know where you're going with this, unless they said something contradictory, which you probably misquoted, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Wait, but they just...
What are we talking about tonight? We're going over Sintara Says. This guy, he has negative IQ, really bad video. He's done literally no research on anything that he's saying. It's really easy to just poke holes in everything that he says. Turn him into Swiss cheese. Fuck this guy. And I think that's about it for tonight, honestly. I think about the last thing that we're doing.
Released data a couple weeks ago that showed that out of almost all the people who have been found to have kind of committed crimes, etc., almost none have been re-released due to the bail reform.
So I literally could not find one source that corroborated this claim, but I did...
Wait, serious crime has... Wait, okay. So before he goes into this, let's see if we can find it, because he couldn't find it. Propaganda. What is this? Gothamist. Okay. Data contradicts NYPD's claim that bail reform and COVID releases drove shooting spike. Claims from the NYPD's top cops that an uptick in gun violence has been caused by bail reform and efforts to and emergency release of Rikers Island due to COVID-19 continues to prove baseless without any data surfacing to back them up. Shootings have increased by 130% in June compared to the last year. Over the 4th of July weekend, police have said that there were 46 shootings involving 64 inmates. 46 shootings involving 64 victims. 11 people were murdered, 10 of which were shooting victims. Okay. Shea claims that the shootings were predictable. You heard me that the storm was coming. We're in the middle of it right now. We're in the perfect storm of sorts, COVID, with Rikers population. But data from the mayor's office and criminal justice, as well as the NYPD's, contradicts these claims. At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, 1,400 people were released from Rikers Island due to the public health emergency. Along with those, one person was rearrested for alleged murder. Someone released after defense lawyers filed for their release, according to the mayor's office of criminal justice. 7 people were rearrested for gun-related charges, including one released early on a city sentence, 4 of which warrants were lifted, and 2 of which and 2 who had district attorney consent. Wow, incredible. Total number of rearrests were 193 out of 1,400, or 13%. The detainees released related to COVID-19, most rearrests were on charges for theft or burglary. Among all 4,500 people let out of jail between March 16th and July 5th, including those who paid bail, finished their sentences for all health reasons due to coronavirus, and the rearrest rate was around 12.8%, or about 578 individuals. 6 people out of the 4,500 subsequently been arrested for murder charges, another 35% for weapons charges, or about 6%. Okay, so this completely contradicts everything that the NYPD said. I don't know why he wasn't able to find this data. It literally was the first link. The first link was able to contradict what this man said. He's really got it going on here.
I did find this that said there's a 35% increase in robberies citywide, a 64% leap in stolen cars, a 19% leap in shootings, and a 30% jump from last year shootings.
Wait, serious crime has spiked in the Big Apple, 20% jump over the first 2 months. Blah blah blah. There was a 35% jump in robberies citywide. Okay, robberies, people are poor. Up from 2,400 from 1,800, 64% leap. So 64% leap in stolen cars. Okay. Yeah, I think he's just lying because he really just hates AOC. He just really wants her to be wrong. Shootings where at least one person was injured. went up 19% over the first 2 months of after the first 2 months of the year, after nearly 30% jump in January compared to last year. Wait, even then, burglaries was the worst crime. Yeah, the murder rate jumped too, but burglaries jumped way higher. 64% increase in stolen cars. Also, there were burglaries, but more than 21%, grand larcenies by more than 16%.
There were also burglaries up by 20%, grand larceny up by 16%.
Yeah,
now,
like she said, crime has been spiking. This doesn't contradict anything that she said. When the data disagrees with your point, it doesn't exist.
This article, it said rapes and murders were down, but this was written about 2 months ago, and that has changed as well. So again, AOC has no idea what she's talking about. She's actually making the argument for more police funding.
What? He's not, I don't think he's engaged with a single point that AOC has put up related to her argument yet. He's just incapable of doing it. Maybe this is his big cope.
She is dumb.
Like their actual crime data from the NYPD, not even independent data, disproves what they're saying.
So that's true. That's 100. We just looked at it. That's 100% true. Their information that they put out contradicts them saying that it was from bail reform and COVID-19 releases from Rikers Island that led to the uptick in crime. It wasn't. Most of the people who were released from jail did not commit murders. Most of them who were arrested committed theft, and all of them were in the amount of people who were released who were reconvicted had was less than 13%. So yeah, seems like the NYPD is coming up with some big old propaganda right here.
Again, I think this is just a blatant lie, or she's misquoting, because I looked everywhere and I could not find this.
I typed it in and I was able to find it on the first link. I really think he's lying here, and I think he is, because a lot of like people who play into the right-wing narrative, like AOC hate, left-wing hate, they know the people who watch them are just really stupid. I mean, I know none of these people tried to look up any of these claims. They just watched the video and jerked off to how big brain they feel, while this guy literally just shits in their ear. It's really funny how you can't just flippantly spend $5 billion. $5 billion. AOC, hold my soy latte. Ah, yes, soy. Haha. Stupid store owners. Yeah, these people. Yeah, they're about as smart as I thought they'd be.
I could not find this anywhere. Every place I looked said there was an increase of at least per crime 19% or 16%.
That's not what she was saying. That's not what she was saying. She was saying that the NYPD has not been truthful about their other cases. This has nothing to do with what she was talking about. God, you don't know how many YouTube videos I looked at, okay?
Tick from this time last year per crime. I don't know where she got this from at all.
Why is this uptick in crime happening? Well, let's think about it.
All right, guys, let's sit forward. Let's put our thinking caps on and try to figure out why there is this incredible uptick in crime.
It's really not hard to understand once you have like once you have at least 4 brain cells to rub together. Usually I say 2, but you have to be a little bit smarter than this guy. With at least 4 brain cells to rub together, a couple of clear synapses. All right, at least 2 clear synapses. Okay, to come up with an idea of why. Where up to 50% of renters can be kicked out of their homes, where lots of people have been out of work for 6 months, where people are struggling to feed their families, with all these things happening, with a lot of social unrest, why crime could be on an uptick. It really takes a good amount of brain power to really come up with this. It really does.
You know what? Let's make it easier on everybody. Let's do a
Yeah, this animation. It's like this animation is the boomer version of Leafy's CS:GO surfing. You know, he knows he doesn't have the hand-eye coordination to actually do CS:GO surfing, so he just puts his cringe model in front of like the retro world vaporwave skating rink to do the surfing for him. So I know he stole this too. I know he didn't pay for this. He probably just recorded it off of YouTube, and then from like a vaporwave mix, and then he slaps it behind his videos because he doesn't have anything else creative to do.
Multiple choice answer. Is it because A, the cops are told they're not allowed to interfere, they're not allowed to do anything, and if they do, they're horrible racist bigots? B,
the cops aren't doing their jobs because they're being criticized by the public. Incredible. the cops just decide to not do their jobs whatsoever because they're being criticized for the public from clubbing people's brains in and shooting them in the eyes with rubber bullets. Imagine how what a soft back baby bitch you have to be to actually, for one, actually do that, and two, believe that's a valid reason for not doing your job.
This media shows nothing but crimes being committed and people getting away with it. Or C, people are hungry and shoplifting bread. Get your answers in here right now.
Do we think this has to do with the fact that there's record unemployment in the United States right now?
Well, the record unemployment is because of people like you on your side of the aisle demanding businesses be shut down because of the coronavirus.
Wait, does he think that if we just open up and let the coronavirus rip through the country that there would be no economic crisis? Like, really? You force people to go back to work? And then what? And then what? Georgia's trying to do this right now. Over 100 teachers had to go home after testing positive, after being in contact with lots of people who tested positive for COVID-19, after they tried to reopen schools. And they're now suspending people. They're suspending kids for showing pictures of kids like shoulder to shoulder, no mask in like a 10-foot hallway trying to get to class, right? Because they don't want to be criticized. They're literally saying they're going to suspend kids for criticizing them for showing the sort of like degeneracy they have in their freaking garbage backward state. It's crazy to me to think that this has nothing to do with to think that opening the country would be a preferable idea to this.
So that idea doesn't really wash. It's up to you to make sure that doesn't happen.
The fact that people are at a level of economic desperation that we have not seen since the Great Recession?
Well, that's because the House keeps putting forward stimulus bills that really just serve themselves and their political narrative and not the American people. There are ways to help American people. You're not doing it. So
wait a second. Wait, I want to pull up something really quick. Guys, it's the House. Guys, it's the House who's not doing it. Guys, it's the House. Come on, guys. It's the House that's not really doing it, guys. It's the Democrats who don't want to help people. Come on, guys. It's the House. Come on, guys, please. Please, it's the House. I promise. Republicans can't be bad. I promise. Republicans really care about us hardworking Americans. I promise, guys, please. The cope is insane.
If anybody is to blame for the recession, it's the people who demand states stay closed, businesses stay shut, and don't help people out, which is you guys.
Maybe this has to do with the fact that people aren't paying their rent and are scared to pay their rent.
Yeah, most places initiated a rent freeze, so that idea doesn't really wash unless you didn't initiate a rent freeze, which I think you did. And why would you be scared to pay your rent? That makes absolutely no sense.
Because you won't have enough money to like pay for your food. I'm sorry, like you can throw your money into rent. Yeah, you'll have a house, but you may not be able to eat. All right, you have to stand in a 10-hour unemployment line to get your benefits that you may not be entitled, that you may not be able to get. Yeah, I can definitely see why people would be scared to be able to pay their rent. Yeah. And
so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe have to. They're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night.
Yeah, you need to shoplift bread because you're not paying your rent. What are we in the medieval times where somebody steals a loaf of bread to feed their family so they have to worry about getting beheaded?
Maybe not beheaded, but like thrown in jail. I don't know, clubbed by the police, maced by the police, maybe tear gas. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's really crazy what capitalism, what liberalism leads you to. Individualism. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and then they wonder when people are left with no shoes, what they do is steal. And then you're like, I never could have seen this happen. Who could have seen this coming? That people with no money and no food and nowhere to go actually decide to go into thievery. Who knew this could happen? Oh no. No. I never could have seen this coming. What a fucking idiot, dude.
I don't know, man. Let's take a look. All right, so I Googled.
Maybe they may not even steal food. They may steal something and then sell it to go buy food, or even that. Yeah. I mean, not necessarily saying like everything's shoplifting bread, but I'm sorry if there's a massive uptick in stolen cars. which there is, and a massive uptick in gang violence to sell drugs, which there is. You wonder why like gangs shoot each other so much? So they can keep controlling their turf. What do they do on their turf? Sell drugs. Why are they selling drugs? To get money. And with people with little money right now because they're laid off, or they don't have a job, they're on unemployment, they can't pay their rent or something. The rent freezes, the federal rent freeze is about to spike. 46% of New York renters are at risk of losing their homes. I'm sorry, lots of people are turning to really desperate needs to get something done, but these people, they don't give a shit.
Looting 2020, and let's see what I came up with. Let's find the bread, okay? Here we.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. A $400 fine right now is devastating to like your average American. I'm sorry, it's just true. Most Americans before the pandemic didn't have $400 for an emergency. Okay, they didn't have $400 for an emergency. All right, they didn't. They didn't have $400 for an emergency. All right, and you think that they can right now get like a $250 fine right now? Okay, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, that can be pretty bad. That can be actually that could be. I think some people right now would be brutalized by the police than get a $250 fine. At this point, at least they can like get up and go home after they get the shit kicked out of them. They won't be able to. They may not be able to pay their rent to stay in a home if they get fined that hard.
We have some people gathered around a beauty supply bread factory. No bread there. Here's a Target. Somebody bashing in a cash register.
Wait, someone's bashing in a cash register when record amounts of people have little to no money right now? Incredible. Who could have seen this coming? Wow, someone went to a beauty supply store. What do you think? They're using them for themselves? Lots of people sell that sort of stuff. Beauty supplies are, for one, expensive. Okay, I buy Shea Moisture stuff because it's really good for like black people's skin and hair. All right, and with that being said, Shea Moisture is mad expensive. All right, it's mad expensive. Yeah, you can sell that stuff for a good price.
Clearly, to get the loaves of bread out of it, we have a few things here. No bakeries, no bread. There's wine and spirits though. Here, clearly to get the loaves of bread out of it.
Wait, people robbing grocery. Dolce and Gabbana? What? People who could have seen this coming? People are poor and they rob a designer clothes factory? Who could have seen this coming? Oh my gosh. Wow.
We have a few things here. No bakeries, no bread. There's wine and spirits though.
That looked like a really big store. Did they sell anything
Target,
other than wine and
spirits?
Register,
clearly to get the loaves of bread out of it.
Do they sell anything other? If they have literally any food, that point is moot.
We have a few things here. No bakeries, no bread. There's wine and spirits though. Here we go. Multiple flat screen LED loaves of bread. Wonderful. Some designer loaves of bread. Here we go. These guys running. Oh, some underwear and lingerie bread. Really hard to come across that. That is really hard to find. Here we have some Nordstrom bread in the guy's hand. Some Nordstrom bread in a bag. A bunch of.
Yeah, won't anyone please can someone please think of the Gucci belts right now? Can anyone please think of the Gucci belts right now? This is very serious, okay? Can please someone. Yeah, $400. No, a $400 fine well, maybe not bankrupt, but really fuck over like a massive amount of people right now. But $400 could bankrupt someone. Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe saying that people are stealing bread, maybe not the thing that's necessarily happening, but people are. I mean, who could have known civil unrest led to poor communities robbing stores? Who could have thought it? We have no clue why anybody robs. It can't be related to people's income level. It's just because they're bad people. Yes, when the Nazis first came for the Gucci belts, I said nothing. Then they came for the Dolce and Gabbana bags. I said nothing. Afterwards, they came for the Supreme fanny packs. I still said nothing. And then they came for me to throw me into the femboy gulag. Don't be like me.
Mannequin bread from a designer clothing place, I think somewhere in New York. Here we have some people breaking into a shoe bread store to get little rolls, shoplifting some more LED flat screen bread, about $100,000 worth. Some designer bread in this lovely young man's hand, clearly for his benefit. Oh, here we have some bread in shoe boxes. It's just hidden so the cops don't know they're stealing bread. Oh, here we have more bread-shaped shoes. You never know. You never know. Oh, jewelry bread. Isn't that lovely? Look at that. Oh, here's an...
Wait, in a time of record unemployment and record poverty, people are stealing jewelry. Incredible. Who could have seen this coming? Yep, there's zero link between poverty and crime. Actually, Cats, you're wrong. There's a 100% link in poverty and crime because I am a smart boy and I watch Actual Justice Warrior, and he told me that there's a 100% link in poverty and crime, and it's crime causes poverty. People start to be doing crime as a meme. It's really funny to them, and then poverty comes, and that's the only reason poverty ever comes, because in this individualist society, everyone succeeds. Come on, guys, come on.
Entire supermarket or department store that was completely wiped out of their bread. Oh, Hot Topic bread. I heard this bread was amazing. Oh, here we have some more Zanetti bread, the real high-end suit bread. Oh, some G-Shock bread. That stuff is
we can skip forward a little bit.
And they are or here's an even crazier idea. The uptick in crime has absolutely nothing to do with bread. It has to do with violent crime, shooting, murdering, raping, stabbing, that kind of stuff. It has nothing to do with bread, unless you're shooting violent crime, shooting, your idea. The uptick in crime has absolutely nothing to do with bread. It has to do with violent crime, shooting, murdering, raping.
Do I have to really go over all my points again? Most violent shootings in this country come from gangs. Gangs shoot each other to control turf. Turf is used to sell drugs. Selling of drugs is used to get money. People have no money right now. Makes a lot of sense. People are stealing cars to sell them for money. People are stealing jewelry to sell it for money. People are stealing clothes to sell it for money. Like, people are stealing TVs to sell it for money. Do you really think people are like robbing a Target, taking 15 flat screen TVs just to like sit in to put them all in the bathroom to feel like they're like fucking Tony Stark or something? Like Jarvis, flush the toilet for me for my stolen goods. And he's like, yes, master. And then the toilet sucks the shit out of his ass or something. I don't know. Like, is this what he unironically thinks that people are doing? Like, like obviously a lot. If you just look at where a lot of these like lootings happen, it's poor communities because they're poor and they need money and they steal things because they're poor. And the poorest people here are the ones who get hit the hardest. Yeah, that's true. It's true. Very true. Yeah, what happened to all these white boys who go around shooting schools for bread? Yeah, come on now. When are we going to talk about that?
Stabbing, that kind of stuff. It has nothing to do with bread, unless you're shooting somebody for their bread. In which case, their need for bread is kind of null and void at that point. I mean, if these New Yorkers were so hard up for bread, you'd think they would just go to ghettogaggers.com and sign up and be a model there. I mean, it's a lot less risky than...
Ghettogaggers.com. Yeah, okay. I see exactly where this guy's coming from. Thugs.
I don't know, getting arrested or shot or stabbed or something for trying to steal bread. They pay their models so they could buy a lot of bread with the money for performing a scene at ghettogaggers.com. Must be 18 year old to go check out the scenes performed by people needing bread.
Maybe it's the fact that unemployment provisions have not been given to everyone. Maybe it's because of the fact that some people still haven't gotten their stimulus checks yet.
You know what? It very well could be that, but nobody is going out and stealing bread. That's not happening. People are going out and stealing stuff because there's no punishment for doing it. And you are...
Wait, do you unironically think that the police just don't exist right now? See, the points that she laid out before she made her premise was for people like this guy. But the problem is that these guys have like a complete shield. I'm gonna big brain this one. I got a big camera at this one. These people are immune to you making points. They're too stupid to understand them. Her like qualifying all of her points with it's not because of the NYPD budget cuts. It's not because of the police not doing their job. The police are actually been doing a lot of work on the streets. The police have actually been lying about a lot of a crime that's been going on, and all of that just went shoop right over his head. The fedora actually protects him from taking in any points, is because his brain is permanently in recovery mode from taking in such high level ideas, as in people just commit crime for fun or something. I don't know. He's just like immune to you talk. He's immune to debate. He's too stupid to understand any like valid points in argumentation. It's really funny. It's really sad, but it's really funny.
Complicit in that. I don't know why or how you got voted in again. That is absolutely astonishing to me, considering you don't give a flying fuck about your constituents. But it's 2020. What else can happen? Guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Please consider becoming a patron so I can go buy more bread.
That's it. That's the entire video. Oh, and then the rest of the video is just him. And then the rest of the video is just him shouting out his Patreon. Wow. There's still 2 minutes left in this video, and it's just him shouting out his Patreon. That's incredible to me. Well, let's debate him in a call-on stream. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Debate me, coward. Filthy. I was about to say a bad word. We're not gonna say that. Okay, just leave. Stop. Video's over. Okay.